Mongolia's political earthquake, why the new prime minister's first move wasn't anti-corruption but a pivot to China. 55-year-old Mongolia's new prime minister, Zandan Shatar, swept into office with a staggering 92.3% approval rating. This seasoned political veteran, a former foreign minister and speaker of the state Great Khural, inherited a nation seething with resentment. The previous administration under Oyun Edene collapsed amid a scandal sparked by his son's fiancée flaunting luxury cars and diamond rings online, a flashpoint that ignited public fury over wealth disparities and official corruption. Everyone expected Shatar to brandish the sword of anti-corruption, vowing to clean up governance. Yet, within 72 hours of taking office, his first major move stunned observers. Instead of tackling domestic rot, Shatar rushed to convene an extraordinary high-level border summit with China, the sixth meeting of the China-Mongolia Joint Border Committee, urgently held in Ulaanbaatar. This seemingly off-topic maneuver was, in fact, a calculated and inevitable choice, a critical recalibration of Mongolia's developmental trajectory. To understand why, we must first dissect the fall of his predecessor, Oyun Edene, and the strategic missteps that doomed his government. Oyun Edene's downfall was triggered by the viral opulence of his son's fiancée. But this was merely the spark. The real fuse was public discontent with rampant inequality and corruption, compounded by the catastrophic failure of his signature third neighbor strategy. This policy, designed to bypass Mongolia's geographic giants, China and Russia, in favor of distant partners like the US, Japan, and India, reached its zenith under Oyun Edene, only to expose its hollow core. High-profile deals, like a rare earths pact with the US, fizzled out due to America's lack of refining technology. Coal export talks with India faltered, as India's market couldn't absorb even a fraction of Mongolia's output. Most absurdly, landlocked Mongolia issued a joint statement with the Philippines pontificating on the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, a diplomatic stunt that epitomized the strategy's performative futility. Oyun Edene's collapse wasn't just a corruption crisis. It was a crisis of national strategy. His third neighbor fantasy promised ports, railways, and energy markets but delivered only illusions. Against this backdrop, Shatar's opening gambit reveals its deeper logic. As a seasoned statesman, he knows that for a landlocked nation sandwiched between China and Russia, domestic reforms divorced from economic realities are castles in the air. With 91.3% of Mongolia's exports tied to China and the country mired in foreign debt and economic woes, anti-corruption rhetoric without a stable economic base is empty talk. Solving the nation's economic lifeline is the most pragmatic answer to public demands. The China-Mongolia summit cut straight to the core: port efficiency, cross-border infrastructure, and ecological cooperation. These technical issues are the bedrock of stabilizing Mongolia's economy and improving livelihoods. Shatar's pivot was foreshadowed by his past actions, championing the donation of 30,000 sheep to China and advocating for Mongolia's integration into China's development orbit. A bolder signal followed. Shatar invited China to join the 2025 Conquest multinational peacekeeping exercise, a military drill historically dominated by the US, and a stage for American influence in Mongolia. By extending the first invitation to China, Shatar's priorities are unmistakable. This isn't mere alignment with China. It's a lucid declaration that Mongolia's strategy is breaking free from decades of westward-looking delusions, returning to a southward gaze dictated by geography and economic necessity. For a nation fighting for survival and development, Shatar's choice is the only rational one.